Hi, good afternoon. So this is William speaking from Optimy. I see that Katal, you're the only one there, so I will say hi, although you cannot reply orally back to me. You can, however, chat, of course, and ask questions on the right. So I will just wait still a few minutes to see if the others, because we have a few attendees today, join, and then in a few minutes I will start the webinar. Okay, so let's go. So for the ones who will not have joined so far, I will briefly explain when I first, and of course, and then Optimy as well. So me, I'm here, William at Optimy, and I work as an account executive. We have then here at Optimy, what do we do? Is that we are a SaaS company for sponsorship and community investment activities. So basically what we do is that we have developed a software to help you manage your activities, receive the requests, and then go further and analyze them and do reporting on them as well. So we have various features to help you do so. And some of them are what we call task management and workflows. So today, that will be the goal of the webinar is to explain to you the workflows and the task management and how to use it and how to use them to help you automate your processes. So I'm gonna share my screen and I'm gonna start with the few activities. So let me just check. I see we have a new person. Oh, it's still you, Cathal. So Cathal, as you already know the tool, but you haven't seen this, I may mention that this is a new UI. So this will be the new interface that you will have soon as well on your tool. And this are going to be implemented for every client's bits by bits in the coming weeks. So this is what we're going to use today for the demo, the webinar, and we will start first and for all with the task management. So for the task management, let me go to the settings, and I have here setup, and then we have task and task types. So in regards to the setup, it's pretty easy. We only have what we call task types to implement, and this basically allow you to put different notifications and reminder in place. So you can see I have already different types, which you're gonna understand afterwards what changes. If I click on add a task type, basically what I can do is I can put a name of the task, of course, and then choose what is the different notifications time, delay, and frequency. I can, of course, choose to disable these and then, or all of them, or some of them, doesn't matter, and then simply click on the button save here up top. So if I go back, we can see that we have a brief summary here already of what is enabled, disabled, and what is the name. So this is the first step. And then what I can do is I can go to a project, for example. So if I go to my project list, then I'm choosing, for example, this project. And then we are here on the project specific. So we have the record, the management tab, and so on. I've also created, for example, in my tool, the task and workflow tab. So if I click on it, we can see that I have here task and workflows. So I can here, of course, assign a new task, which will be specific to this project. So let me click here on assign a new task. So I have this pop-up window appearing. So I will put, for example, test webinar, and then I can assign it to somebody. So this, I can either assign it to one of the backend users, so the users of here, the tool in the back office, or I can also choose to subscribe the task to somebody else. And this can be done here as well and add other people. So in this sense, we can have different people assigned or attached in a way to the tasks and then be aware and receive the reminders and updates on whether the task is done or not. So let me assign it, for example, to myself. And I'm going to put a colleague just for the fun of it as a subscriber. And then I have here task types. So you can see here we have the three types that we had in the setup a few seconds ago. And so this will impact on the type of notification that I will receive. So I will just put the by default one, and then you can choose here a due date. So let's put it for the 30th of June, for example, and then you can put a small description. Once this is done, you can assign the task, and I have now, of course, up a task here. If I click on it, I can review what it is, what was written in it. I can change whatever I've put as a first instance, and I can update the task. I can also click on the gear to edit or even add a comment, or again, manage the notifications. And I can, of course, delete the task. Clicking on the button here will allow me to say the task is done and put it as done. But I will not do so for now because I'm going to show you just afterwards what we have on the dashboard. When I have an upcoming task on the dashboard, what happens is that I have a widget. At the moment, it's at the bottom here when I had the different things related to my tool, but I also have something which is called my tasks. And so I can see here that I have test webinar with the description here, test description, the name of the project, and the due date. If I click on it, I go back to load to the project in question. There we go. And it actually also opens the place where I have my task. And if I go back to the dashboard, I have another option, which is to show all my tasks. By doing so, it will lead me to the page tasks that we can see here on the upper menu, which I have then all the tasks that are linked to myself as my account. The other ones I didn't see why, because they are overdue or done already. And we can actually see on this page, which is also accessible, of course, by just clicking on task here, filters and Gantt task. So filters, if I click on it, it basically allows me to filter the tasks that I see. If, for example, I want to see all of them, only the ones that are to do, etc. So this would allow you, for example, to, if you have a colleague that is on holiday for 2 weeks, 1 week, a month, or another specific time, you can still manage to check his task to see if there is anything urgent to do. And of course, to filter your task as well. Now, the Gantt task, what it is, if I click on it, it allows you to have a small overview on a calendar if it will load. There we go. So we can see here, it's still a bit loading because I don't have the symbols yet on the buttons. But basically what it is that you can see here the tasks on a due date. On the left, we have the name of the task and also the name of the project. So you can see here, for example, I have 2 tasks called test concerning 1 project. I had the due dates here, and then now we have the button. So I can go further on the right or back on the left. I can de-zoom to see from a further distance. So we see now the years and the month, or of course I can zoom in to see every specific day or every month, etc. So this was regarding the task. Now I'm gonna go with the workflows. So regarding the workflows, let me go back to the dashboard. So basically what you can do is that you can create a workflow to automate part of your processes or all of your processes, of course. So I've created myself a few workflow already, and I'm going to also create a workflow in front of you so you can see how it works and how it functions. And then afterwards, I will show you a more complex workflow to show you the extent on how you can use the workflow. So let's go back again to the gear here and then set up. There we go. So automation, and here we have workflows. Here. So this is what you would see when clicking on workflow. You would see here the name of the form linked to it, and the state. So I'm going to create a new one, which I'm going to call test webinar, and we're going to do it from scratch. So I'm going to choose this one, and I'm going to save. And so you see now we are in the building form. So you can see now we have a attention mark next to the starting point because, of course, we have nothing yet. And the only thing that can be a starting point in a workflow is when you put a project in specific status. So you're gonna add an element, which is gonna be here project status changed, and we are gonna name it the way we want. So step 1 of the workflow, for example, step 1 of the workflow. And you can see we have a tile underneath that was created, and we can see the name. Let me zoom in. We can see the name that I just inputted there and connections underneath. If I then drag and drop this tile, we have now, as you can see, one element. This one has a question mark as well because the tool is asking for us to give more information. So if I click on the element here in question, it is specifically asking me the status in question. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to see all the statuses that are linked to this specific form that I chose earlier on. And so I'm going to choose, for example, company information submitted. And then I'm going to close this and we can see the question mark has disappeared. There's no need to click on the button save. It does it automatically. I'm going to then here click on set the starting point. And I have now the ability to choose step 1 of the workflow. Why do I say that I have now the ability? I'm going to show you why. Because if I add an element, which would be, for example, create a task in the project, I name it review the project, for example, and then I drag and drop it. I have now a second element, and as you can see, I have a attention mark. I click on it, and now I can put a task name, which would be, I can put the exact same one, review the project, and then I can put the number of days before it is due. I'm going to put 20, for example. I say who is going to be assigned to this project. Myself. I put a description. I also can choose who's going to be the user assigning the task. So here again, I can choose everybody. In case you have, for example, the team management and the automatic assignation, you can also choose to here put the person, for example, that is the leader of the project. So this is just an information for you to have, but otherwise you can also simply here select one of the users of the tool. And then we have again the task type that we can decide. So either customer task or by default, I'm going to put by default, for example, and I'm going to close this. The attention mark has disappeared, but I still have it on set a starting point, of course. So if I click back here, you can see that the here review the project tab I created is not here available. That is because, as I said, only the fact of putting a project in a specific status can be used as a starting point, as a trigger. So I'm going to select here my step 1, and we can see we have now a watch next to both the tile and the name of the element. Now, this is all well and good, but how can the tool, of course, know the process? Well, then you can simply put your mouse on the word connections and drag and drop, and then you can link it to any tile you want. So I'm going to link it here, and we have now a first connection. And then, of course, you can add different elements, different steps of your processes, and then follow by one and each other. So to briefly summarize, in the elements we have the ability to ask the tool to change the project statuses. So for example, if I put this one after the task, means that as a workflow that we have here, as soon as we put the project here in the status company information submitted, then it creates a task, review the project, and as soon as I ticked the task, if we put here change status, it would change the status of the project to the status that we would have chosen. We also have the possibility to activate a second part in the form of the project, or to lock a part, unlock a part, or even also publish API callbacks. So this is linked to more specific developments in case you want the tool to react and functions in a certain way, or to push informations to other tools, other websites or whatever. This can be done and can be, of course, triggered through the workflow as well. So these are the different elements you could do. So let me check something. So here, I think we reviewed anything. What I can also add, of course, is that you can input various tasks here, and then based on whoever task is ticked and so on, you have next steps, which I'm going to show you. I'm going to delete this workflow, and I'm going to show you in the more complex workflow you saw a few minutes ago. So let me go here on this one. So I'm not going to detail the whole workflow, but only here the first few steps to show you how it can be done. So you can see here that as soon as we have a project going to the status ready for kickoff that we have in our tool, it generates here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tasks, which then, if you complete those 4, will allow you to generate another task if also this one is generated. So let me rephrase in another way. So it generates here the 6, 7 task. Then if I have done this one, generates this one. Then if I have done this one, generates this one. And then if I have done this one plus the 4 here, it generates this task. And then we can have here, again, change of status. We have task created as well here, and then it goes on, goes on. So this one is, again, a bit more complex, but you can also go way further than that as well. So let me go back to my tool and see if now we can use a workflow. So now they are there. So we have workflow I had called easy and medium. So let me go on the workflow easy. So here, as you can see, it's a basic status updated. Then we lock apart. Then locking apart means that the person who has submitted a project through the form cannot modify it anymore. And we say part because you can have different steps or parts in your form. Then we have a task created to review the project. And then once the task is created, it goes to another status. So this is quite easy and straightforward. Then we have a more medium one up here, which is more in the sense that the one that I said was a bit more complex, but still a bit more easy. So here we have we have 2 tasks created. Then we have one part that is locked, a second one that is activated, and then we have a third task created only if the task A and B are ticked as done. Then we have here a change of statuses. So this is a bit more not complex. It's more medium than easy. And now I'm going to, of course, go to one project and show you how it goes. So for example, if I have my here project and I go to task and flow, so we have the task that I had created before. So if I, for example, click here on the button, we don't see it anymore, and you can see that it's now completed. So if I go now to the board, you will remember we had a widget that will show us the upcoming task that we had. And we don't have it anymore as we don't have any upcoming task. Now, what I didn't mention as well is that our dashboard is now completely dynamic, so you can have a drag and drop here. So if you want to see your task up front, you can select here the whole block widgets and go above and have it as a first instance before seeing the statuses. Now, going back to the workflow. So to explain, I have put 2 workflows, one easy, one medium. And basically, it will all be triggering once I will put them in one status. So I'm going to go here to my project management of my project here. and I'm gonna put them in analysis. The project, confirm the status change, and doesn't want to do it for this one. Let's go to another project then. This one here, which actually went through a workflow. So if I go to task and flow, you can see we have here workflow 1, that's volume, etc. So let me go to the project management. I'm gonna put it in analysis. Up here, confirm the status change. It is now updated. It is in the status in analysis. And if I go to task and flow, I have now a new task that was assigned to me by somebody else, and it needs to be done by the 25th. And now you can see I have workflow here easy, 50% completed, awaiting one action. If I click on the task here, saying it is done, we have now another workflow that is triggered, and we have also other tasks. And if I go to my project record, it shouldn't have changed status yet. It has, as we have now the start of workflow. So going back to this task and workflow, I have here task B, task A. And if I click on both of them, we have now the task C that is created. And so basically that is it about the workflow. So you can really see that we can go into very easy steps or more detailed steps. So I'm gonna now close this as I don't need it anymore. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. There we go. So that was it, people. So if you have, of course, any questions, feel free. I'm gonna check. I don't have any. Feel free to ask. So then, of course, it was a pleasure for me to conduct this webinar. It will be posted live, of course, for you to share if you need to, or for the people, of course, that weren't there to be able to receive it. It will be on our website in the coming days, weeks. And then otherwise, I thank you for being there, and I hope to see you very soon. I'm just gonna check one last time, and there's nothing. Perfect. Well, thank you for listening, and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.